7 steps for getting started in real estate investing. And I didn't have time to go over those. I kind of lost track of where it was, but here they are today. So, the 7 steps of getting started in real estate, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. But the first one I would say is you really need to assess your financial situation. So, a lot of people that I speak with have aspirations of getting started in real estate investing, but they don't have any money of their own. Now, while it is extraordinarily common to get started in real estate without having any of your own money, there's also a lot of kind of like underlying symptoms as to how you have found yourself in a position where you do not have any money. And those are the things that you need to address. And, at the end of the day, even if you are a high income earning W 2 job holder, you still need to figure out ways to increase your income and lower your expenses. So, your financial situation, you have to tighten it up. Real estate investing is one of the most capital intensive industries that I think you could be in, maybe next to manufacturing. I think it is extraordinarily important to be sound with your personal finances, to have an abundance of reserves of capital to get started and to be able to bail yourself out of pinches when you get in them. And it's also just going to be really prudent for you to start getting in the mindset of always looking for different ways to increase your income and lower your expenses. I think what I would shoot for is only live off of about 50% of your income. If you're able to save, invest, or otherwise deploy 50% of your income to make you additional funds, you're always going to be in a good spot. And I think limiting your consumption, your personal consumption, to 50% or less of your income is a really powerful position for you to be in, and it's really going to help set you up for long term. Now, this is number one because it is the most important, in my opinion, but it's also something that you constantly need to be evaluating and reassessing. You should never lose sight of that, as it is extraordinarily important, which is why it was at number one. And number two is assessing your personal network. Now, if you are starting out on a journey, if you want to really excel at something, then it is 100% easier to learn from the experiences of other people, learn from the mistakes of other people. And that is easiest when you surround yourself with like minded people that have already achieved the thing it is that you're setting out to achieve for yourself. So, one of the first things that I did when I was getting started in real estate investing was I went out and I found other real estate investors. Now, generally, they're pretty easy to find. There's a lot of real estate investing network groups. Just like everything else in life, it's a real numbers game. You need to meet a lot of people. You're not going to click with everybody. You're not going to form the best of relationships with people. And there's always going to be people out there that are somehow trying to take advantage of you or don't have your best interest at heart. So you really need to sift through a lot of other people that have the type of achievements that you're looking to have, and then find the people that you click best with, that you like the most, and become friends with them, forge relationships with them. And one exercise that I used to regularly do is go through my phone list and make sure that, the last 10 or 15 people that I spoke with were kind of trending in the direction that I wanted to go. And as inhumane as it may feel, as horrible as it is to think about, it is most certainly necessary for you to take a really hard look at your existing network and figure out who is currently in your last 10 or 15 person call history that doesn't need to be there. And, you can do it tactfully. You don't need to say goodbye to this person forever, but realize if you have true aspirations of becoming a millionaire, having a portfolio of X number of properties, there are a lot of ways that you could easily prevent yourself from accomplishing that. And one of the quickest ways is to not always be in the right mindset, not always have people that are the right type of people around you. So the people and your brain really make the biggest difference. And you really have to protect your energy, your brain power, and figure out who is taking your energy and your brain power away for things that are never going to be productive. So I remember probably one of the most painful conversations that I had was a friend who I really appreciate. I really enjoy him. I would answer the phone and help him out with anything that I could. But I remember for a couple of months, we talked about his, like, just one issue that he was having for a really long time. I gave my advice all the ways that I knew how to give it. And you can only have that conversation so many times before it came down to, hey, good luck. I've said about all I can say about this, and I just don't have the ability to talk about it anymore. So whenever you get past this, let's hang out. But until then, it's on you. And, those conversations are difficult, but necessary, especially when you have your eyes on a goal. The third thing that I think is really important is for you to do an immense amount of research. So there are all sorts of different avenues of real estate investing, and all of them are probably really good ways at making money. So, kind of how I opened up this live stream, I said there are just as many different ways to make money in real estate investing as there are people investing in real estate. And that I think is really true. So, figure out the types of real estate that are most appealing or have the most amount of interest to you, and really dive in deep on those. Research them, read all the literature that exists on those types of real estate investing, and then start taking action. Start finding people that invest in that type of real estate, and bring them into your network. But I would say, before you actually buy your first deal, you need to expose yourself to all the different avenues of real estate investing, or at least the ones that you think that you're interested in. And then take a really hard look as you're meeting people that invest in these different types of real estate. Take a hard look at their lifestyle, the problems that they are faced with on a daily basis, and then be realistic with yourself and figure out, are the problems that they're dealing with problems that you are interested in having? Because at the end of the day, everybody can calculate your return on investment as a percentage. But what is more important and very difficult to calculate is the kind of headache factor. So I know for a fact, the likelihood of us getting involved in multifamilies is pretty low, because I am not interested in dealing with the drama between units. Now, I imagine that when you have a 100, 200 unit apartment building, these types of problems go away a little bit or become less apparent. But around the area that I invest in, a lot of 4 units, 6 units, 8 units, one bad resident could cause everyone to want to move out. And we have experienced that a couple of times. And those are the types of problems that I'm just not interested in having. So subsequently, we spend the most amount of time, energy, and effort growing our portfolio of single family homes. So my interest level falls off drastically whenever I think about multifamily investing. And I honestly don't know enough about commercial real estate, or enough people that are investing in commercial real estate to ever make that a reality as well. So right now, I am doing the Gary Keller, the one thing model, and we are focused extraordinarily heavily on one avenue of real estate investing. Now, we did some research on the front end in order to figure that out, like which one we wanted to have. And the first property that I purchased was actually a duplex. So that does not fall in the model. And that is a property that I can absolutely say I would not purchase again, given the opportunity to do so. I'll come back to that point. Now, the fourth thing that you should do is regularly attend real estate investing network meetings or associations or anything like that. As soon as you identify the type of real estate investing that you want to be involved in, figure out all the different networks, conferences, whatever is available to you, and figure out how to continue to educate yourself, build your network, and stay involved in that industry. I think adding these types of meetings, or whatever else you want to call them, like to your regularly scheduled calendar activities, is really important. Always keep it top of mind, especially if this is a new venture for you, and just having the spots on your calendar kind of forcing you to engage in the industry with other people in the industry, and giving you opportunity to build relationships with the people that have this thing that you set your goal on having, is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And it will keep you accountable because it's on your schedule, and it is, not what you normally do on a daily basis. So attend meetings, network, and get involved in the industry, which is the fifth one. And I think this is important. So I started an insurance agency, and the insurance agency that I built, the way that I built it when it was just me, was solely based around writing insurance for other people that invest in real estate. And through that, I was able to connect with a significant amount of real estate investors. I was able to figure out some of their issues, and I was actually able to provide some value as many real estate investors struggle with the insurance side of real estate investing. So, being both a real estate investor and also an insurance agent for real estate investors, I had some pretty good insight and created some pretty cool things, in my opinion, to help solve those issues. So, that kind of expedited my networking, relationship building, and I was also able to add value to the people that I was looking to insight for as I was learning from them and trying to figure out how to duplicate what they had already done. Because one of the cool things about real estate and investing is that real estate has been around for such a long time. As long as people have needed a place to live, real estate investing has been a thing. There's no need for you to get creative. You do not need to figure out new ways to do anything. You can just copy the models that have already been done. The whole idea of the fact that there's nothing new under the sun couldn't be more true inside the confines of real estate investing. If there is ever a problem that you have, there is somebody else that has already had that problem. And, the good news is, as it pertains to real estate investing, every single problem that you ever have can be solved with money. So that's a double-edged sword. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's very painful. Again, that's why number one is assess your finances and constantly be reassessing that. My brother was originally, when we first got started in real estate investing, he was a commercial HVAC fellow. And then as we were building our portfolio, we realized that one of the biggest issues, or one of our biggest blind spots, were getting the financing right on properties. So what he ended up doing was leaving his job as a commercial HVAC individual, and he got into the mortgage industry. And from there, he learned almost everything there is to know about residential mortgages and subsequently commercial mortgages. So he worked on both sides of that. And now that has impacted our business model greatly, has given us a lot of relationships, and has given us a lot of clarity on how we need to build our business so that it is most lendable or bankable or viewed in favor by all the institutions that we're asking for capital from. After you do all of this, I would say you just need to start buying deals. I know a lot of people that have done all of the things that I have just said, and they get kind of paralyzed by the overwhelming amount of information, the fear of making a mistake, and just waiting for that perfect opportunity and the perfect deal to come along. And it's never going to happen under any circumstances. I would say as soon as you feel like you are, going to these networking meetings, you're reading these books, and everything just feels familiar, you need to start taking action. And you shouldn't take yourself seriously unless you're taking action. So you cannot sit around with this information, with the proper funds, with all this knowledge, and then not execute anything. When I got started in real estate investing, I met a couple of other people. Some of them, most of them, probably all of them, were significantly smarter than I was. And I still keep in touch with a couple of them, and they have yet to buy their first deal. They've got more funds than I do. They're, for all intents and purposes, they're smarter than I am, but they've just never taken any action. And I would say all of this knowledge, all the networking that you could possibly do, is extraordinarily useless. All the savings that you've been doing, the living off 50% of your income or less, it's all very useless if you never take any action. So there's going to be a point in your journey where the only thing that's left to do is just start taking action. Now, obviously, you don't want to do that too soon, because you're able to circumvent a serious number of mistakes and issues by educating yourself properly, surrounding yourself with the right network. You don't need to go out there and just start buying properties and making mistake after mistake. That's the most expensive way you could possibly learn. However, once you get very well acquainted with successful people that are willing to help you out, once you have an understanding of all the moving parts of real estate investing, once you have the proper financing and will be viewed favorably from banks and institutions, the only thing that you should be focused on, is taking action and getting that first deal. And understand that you will make mistakes, you will lose money. You're going to want to mitigate that as much as you can. But there's this thing that I was a very valuable lesson on my end, and it was called business tuition. That's what a mentor of mine at one point called it. And it's just like, hey, some people pay for college, some people pay, to learn in the field. And when you learn in the field, it comes in the forms, and your payment is made in the forms of mistakes that you can now avoid, and just chalk that up to business tuition and keep on moving. I, watched an interview with a real estate investor here recently, and he revealed that he lost money on his first 8 deals. Now, I would say you can circumvent that by leaning in to other people, by learning from their experience, by learning from their mistakes, and educating yourself. I don't think you need to lose money on 8 deals, and you've got all the resources you need via the internet, via finding mentorships, finding real estate investing network meetings, and leveraging those relationships and all the information available to you to circumvent making a decent number of mistakes. And then lastly, the 7th thing is to constantly be reassessing and pivoting as necessary. So if you research all of the previous great businesses, you'll realize that they get very comfortable in their growth and doing one thing very well. And the market shifts and they refuse to pivot. And when they refuse to pivot, that's when the businesses start to die. I think the department stores that didn't, take to the World Wide Web whenever that thing came around, were all able to see that. While department stores were still where everyone got everything, hindsight being 2020, probably would have been pretty easy for them to pivot, get involved with the World Wide Web, try to get better at delivering things. But they built this entire machine that was pointed in one direction, and they refused to pivot as the market started changing. And that gave way to some disruptors that started at $0. Amazon's a good example. And they took a lot of the market share and really made a lot of these department stores irrelevant. And adapting to the market as it shifts is extraordinarily easy for people like you and I that are very small time real estate investors to do, because we don't have people to convince. We don't have PowerPoint presentations that need to be made. We don't have, different divisions or departments that need to communicate together in order to authorize these types of changes. It's just hey, this isn't working like it used to. It's probably time for us to try something else, right? There was a time where we bought a tremendous amount of foreclosures. Well, now there's no more foreclosures. Good news is we had about 6 other ways to buy deals, right? That's just one example of the way that we have pivoted in the past, where we bought a bunch of high equity things that needed rehab, and they were abundant at one point, and then they dried up. So we pivoted and we found deals that were still high equity another way. Constantly reassessing, pivoting when necessary. That is the part that is going to allow you to weather any market, any condition, changing environments, all of that. And there you have it, the 7 steps to get started in real estate investing. So I think those things are helpful. I hope that that little diatribe of about 20 minutes or so was a lot of good information that you can take and immediately start on, because all of these steps require $0. They are things that you could do today. They are things that you could start changing right now. You just need the willpower, the determination, make the commitment to yourself to start improving yourself financially, from a network point of view, from a educational point of view, and start taking action. And you've got it. Thanks for watching that clip. I thought that was a good question. And I think you can ask good questions too. Join us every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a live stream Q&A where we answer plenty of questions just like this one. In the meantime, consider subscribing to the channel if you want more of this content. And if you want to increase your deal flow, analyze properties better, and help me feed my family, click the link below for a free 7-day trial of PropStream.